Right, Friday the 29th of August, and things are finally starting to move at Celtic Park. Took a while, didn't it? 40 days since Shun Yamada walked through the door, and we'd been sitting, waiting, wondering, getting a bit twitchy, let's be honest. But at last, there's been movement. Michel-Ange Baloquisha is officially a Celtic player. Permanent deal, proper signing, no loan, nay extensions, nay options, just in the door and ready to go. And I tell you right now, he better no be the last. We need more. Everybody sees it. Everybody feels it. It's been a summer, dragging feet, and now we're staring down the barrel of the final days of the window with massive gaps still in the squad. But this is a start. Now, obviously, pronunciation always throws us when these signings arrive. You get that awkward moment where you've been saying a player's name one way for 2 weeks, only to find out you've been miles off. So, as is tradition, we tried to get it straight from the man himself. It's never quite clear. There's always some background noise or some Belgian accent twisting it. But we're going with Baloquisha for now. That's the name on the back, the shirt, and that's what we'll be chanting at Celtic Park soon enough. He signed on a 5-year deal, reportedly somewhere between £4.5 to £5 million. Now, bear in mind, his deal at Antwerp was running out next summer, so we've maybe got him on the cheap. Bit like the deal for Benji Siegrist, getting in before the contract runs out, beating other clubs to the punch. It's the kind of business that gets a nod of approval from the folk upstairs who like a good spreadsheet. He'll wear the number 10 shirt, last seen on the back of a certain Nick who had a few decent moments himself. And Brendan Rodgers has already come out and said Baloquisha can play on both flanks, left and right. Now, I've had a dig through some of the stats and clips floating about, and there's even moments where he's drifted centrally. But make no mistake, this lad's a winger first and foremost, predominantly off the left, by the looks of it. So what does that mean for the rest of the squad? Well, we've still got Daisen Maeda knocking about, we've got Young, we've had links to other wide players as well. Hoda's situation is still up in the air, and to be honest, the whole right-hand side, our attack has felt patched up for too long now. You kind of get the sense we're just stacking up the left and hoping for the best. But Baloquisha brings something we're sorely lacking. Real pace, real aggression, and that bit of swagger you need out wide. He's a bit of a hybrid, honestly. Watching him, there's flashes of Daisen in the way he stretches defenses, runs in behind, and gets into good positions. But unlike Maeda, he's comfortable on the ball. He can take a man on, drop the shoulder, drive inside. Things you'd associate more with someone like Hoda. So in that sense, it feels like we've found a middle ground between the two. And at 24 years old, he's coming into his prime. This isn't a project player. This isn't someone we're talking a gamble on, hoping he might come good in a year or two. He's ready. And look, I get it. The name's been doing the rounds for weeks. When a transfer drags out this long, you get sick of the sight of it. Every update, every rumor, every talk's ongoing line, fans just want it done. But now that it is done, I think we can all admit it's a tidy piece of business. Belgian Youth International, solid goal return, roughly 1 every 3 or 4 games. And you'd expect that to improve with the service he'll get at Celtic. He's got that injection of energy we've been crying out for in the final third. Feels like a signing that actually addresses a need, rather than just ticking a box. So here's my message, and I've said it in the last few videos. Brendan, if you're watching this on your way to Lennoxtown this morning, with a coffee in hand, start him on Sunday. Don't overthink it. Don't ease him in slowly. The boy is match fit. He's been playing for Antwerp this season. He knows how to hit the ground running. And with Ibrox looming, we need every bit of firepower we can muster. If Maeda is on his way out, and we'll get to that in a second, then it's likely Maeda moves centrally. That leaves a vacancy on the left. And in that situation, there's no debate. It has to be Baloquisha ahead of Young. Every day of the week. Now, let's talk about Maeda, because this one genuinely caught me off guard. News broke this morning that Swansea City are making a move, and it's not just a passing interest. They want him. £7 million is the figure being floated, and honestly, for a club like Swansea, that's a bit of a coup. I know people have had their frustrations with Maeda, and it's true, he's been wildly inconsistent. But he's had his moments in a Celtic shirt, some big goals, especially during his loan spell. The issue's always been whether he can do it consistently, whether he can be the main man. And it felt like this season was going to be his chance to prove it. But it seems Brendan's patience might have run out. There have been signs, subbed at halftime in big games, benched when we needed goals, subtle digs and pressers about his work rate. You could tell something was brewing. And now, if Swansea are serious and the deal goes through, then it'll mark the end of what was a bit of a mixed bag for him. Look, we paid around £8.5 million to Norwich for him, with another $1 million in potential add-ons. If we're getting $7 million back, that's not a disaster. It's not a profit, but it's not a total loss either. The strange thing is, for all the criticism he gets, Ida is still one of our regular starters. He probably would have started at Ibrox. So letting him go now, without a replacement lined up, does raise a few eyebrows. We're already light up top. We can't go into Sunday with Maeda and no one. But as it happens, there is a name being mentioned. And if this one materializes, it could be a game changer. Enter Casper Dolberg. Now, I'll admit, I had to double-check the date when I saw this rumor break. Because this isn't just a random link. This is a genuinely exciting name. Dolberg's got pedigree. Came through the ranks at Ajax, looked like a superstar in the making, and earned a big move to Nice in France. It hasn't all been smooth sailing since then, but you don't get to that level without serious talent. And now, he's at Anderlecht, where, ironically enough, he's been playing alongside Kasper Schmeichel. Two Don, two Caspers, both potentially heading to Glasgow. Who'd have thought? Dolberg's been scoring goals for fun in Belgium. Last season, 24 goals in 45 appearances. Already 5 goals this term. He's not just a poacher. He's 6'2", good in the air, good movement, and can finish in a variety of ways. Ugly goals, tap-ins, bangers from the edge of the box, you name it. And while he might not have fulfilled the massive potential Ajax saw in him, he's still only 27. That's not old. That's right in the sweet spot for a striker. The reported fee is around £8 million, which is steep by our standards, but if you want quality, you've got to pay for it. Anderlecht are said to be ready to let him go, especially now they've crashed out of Europe. Their Conference League exit might be our gain. There are whispers that they've already lined up a replacement, Musa from Charleroi, which would only clear the path further for Dolberg to move. Now, to be clear, there's no bid in from Celtic as of yet. These are just strong reports at this stage. But we're in the final days of the window. If you're going to make a move, now's the time. And it feels like Dolberg would be a proper statement. A striker with experience, with goals, with presence. The kind of player who could walk into that dressing room and make an impact straight away. Of course, we've been here before, haven't we? The rumor mill gets going, fans start getting excited, and then we end up signing a 20-year-old winger from some Austrian second division side no one's heard of. So I take it with a pinch of salt. But for once, it feels like we're linked with someone who actually fits the bill. Someone who moves the needle. And after the sluggish recruitment this summer, the fans need that. The squad needs that. Brendan Rodgers definitely needs that. Now before we wrap this section, couple of transfer updates to tick off. Calvin Stengs? Forget it. He's off to Serie A, signed for Pisa. That one's dead. Marcelo Sarachi, though, looks likely to be announced very soon. Could even be part of the squad for Sunday, depending on how quickly we get the paperwork sorted. And that might just give us some cover at left back with Greg Taylor needing rest, and Tierney still not 100%. And as for Europe, well, the Europa League draw is today. Not the competition we wanted to be in, but here we are. The draw's taking place in Monaco, digital format this time, bit different from usual. All the pots are set, and we're about to find out our fate. 34 possible opponents, and while there's no Rangers in the mix, thank God, there's still plenty of potential storylines. English sides, old faces, familiar cities. Could be tasty, but that's a chat for tomorrow. Right now, all eyes on Baloquisha, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Dolberg. So with the Europa League draw just around the corner, there's this strange mix of frustration and opportunity hanging in the air. It's not where we wanted to be. We all know that. We had our eyes set on Champions League nights under the lights at Parkhead, the anthem, the buzz, the proper stage. But we've fallen short, and now we're sitting here, trying to make the best of what we've got. Because make no mistake, the Europa League might not have the glamour, but it still carries weight. It still means something, especially when you consider the state this squad's in and the need to rebuild momentum. And honestly, there's some real winnable ties in there if we play our cards right. The competition doesn't quite have that same teeth it had maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago. You don't see a Sevilla or an Inter Milan lurking in every pot. There's a bit more balance this time around. That's not me saying it'll be easy, far from it. We've shown already this season that we're more than capable of messing up against teams we should be beaten. But it does feel like, if we can sort ourselves out, if we can hit some rhythm, there's a chance here for a proper European run. And if you look at who's in the draw, there's plenty of spice to go around. Aston Villa's there, which would be massive, not just for the level of the match, but the storyline. You've got Greg Taylor's old side, Pioike, with Giacomakis in the ranks now. Seed Haksabanovic at Malmo. Ivano plays for Genk. The Celtic DNA is scattered all across this tournament. Every draw has the potential to be loaded with narratives. And then there's Stuttgart, an absolutely class city, by the way. Lived there for 6 months. Beautiful place, would make a brilliant away day. Bologna too, with Lewis Ferguson. Not to mention Sevilla, the city where our UEFA Cup dreams died all those years ago. Imagine a wee road to redemption there. Eh? Now look, I get it. There's also a real danger of letting nostalgia or excitement cloud what needs to happen right now. The squad, as it stands, is paper-thin in key areas. Injuries, inconsistent performances, players out of form. It's not a squad that looks ready for the intensity of European group stages. And this is where Baloquisha and potential signings like Dolberg become crucial. You can't go into these ties with half-fit players and hope for miracles. We need ready-made starters. We need quality. Because it's not just about surviving Europe. It's about building a team that can carry the domestic fight and make a proper go at Europe at the same time. That's the standard. That's what this club should always be aiming for. And I tell you what, even though we're stuck in the Europa, there's still plenty of motivation for the lads. We've embarrassed ourselves in Europe too often. Kairat, Cluj, Ferencváros, the list is long and painful. Celtic fans deserve better. Celtic Park deserves better. We should be watching our club playing with pride on the European stage, not limping out with a whimper in September. So if there's any pride left in that dressing room, if Brendan Rodgers wants to really stamp his return with authority, this group stage has to matter. It can't just be another box ticked. The fixtures will be confirmed by Sunday at the latest, according to UEFA. So we'll soon know exactly what lies ahead. That'll give us a clearer picture of where the challenges lie, both home and away. And with Ibrox coming this weekend, the timing couldn't be sharper. The whole week's been building up to this double-headed moment. Domestic showdown against the old rivals, and then a fresh crack at Europe. The pressure is very, very real. And while we're talking pressure, it's worth revisiting the striker situation again. Because even if we do get Dolberg through the door, we can't expect him to walk straight in and solve everything. He needs time. He needs service. He needs a functioning team around him. So the midfield has to step up. The creativity has to come from somewhere. And frankly, it's been lacking lately. Rio Haytate's fitness still feels like a mystery. Matt O'Reilly's been solid but can't do it all himself. McGregor's been overworked, trying to do everything from deep. And as good as Home and Iwata might become, they're still finned in their feet. So that puts more weight on the wings. Baloquisha has to hit the ground running. Young needs to show more consistency. Maeda, if pushed central, needs to remember how to finish chances, not just chase defenders. This is why this window is so important. We're no just filling gaps. We're trying to fix the core of a squad that's had too many questions and not enough answers. And if the board thinks one winger and one striker is enough, they're in for a rude awakening come autumn. There's been a shift in tone from the fans as well. At the start of the summer, there was optimism. Rodgers was back. We'd won the double. There was a sense that we could kick on again. But now, there's a real sense of restlessness. People feel let down by the transfer market. We were promised ambition, but what we've had instead is hesitation. And unless that changes drastically in the next few days, the goodwill that came with Rodgers' return might start evaporating. Still, football moves fast. 1 or 2 good signings, a win at Ibrox, a favorable Europa League draw. It can all swing back the other way just as quickly. That's the thing with this club. The highs are sky high, the lows are brutal. There's no in-between. And right now, we're teetering on the edge. This week will define our trajectory for the next few months. Will we be challengers again, domestically and in Europe? Or are we about to settle into another frustrating cycle of almosts and not quites? And listen, Sunday at Ibrox, it doesn't need me to build it up. It's the kind of fixture that defines seasons, careers, reputations. The noise, the venom, the atmosphere. It's football at its rawest. And we're going in with a team that's still searching for its identity. That's the worry. Rangers haven't been flying either, but they're at home, and they'll be looking to put us under pressure from the first whistle. That opening 20 minutes is going to be absolutely vital. We can't afford to be caught cold. Baloquisha, if he starts, is going to get a proper baptism. There's no easing in at Ibrox. It's either sink or swim. But that's exactly why I want to see him in there. You want players who rise to these moments, who thrive off the chaos. And from the little I've seen of him, he looks like someone who wants to be on the ball, wants to take responsibility. That's what we've lacked too often in these games. Too many passengers. Too many players shrinking from the occasion. We need someone to grab it by the throat. And of course, that brings us back to the manager. Brendan Rodgers. He's been here before. He knows what Ibrox feels like. But this is a different squad, a different time, and he's under different scrutiny. The first spell, he was bulletproof. Now, there's a sense of expectation, but also a lot of people waiting to pounce if it doesn't work. So Sunday's huge for him too. Set up right, get the result, and he buys himself time. Lose, and the questions will start piling up again. It's not just about tactics either, it's about heart. The fans want to see fight. Want to see players who understand what the badge means. That's what made guys like Scott Brown untouchable in these fixtures. You didn't have to wonder if they'd turn up. You knew. Right now, we're still waiting to see who those leaders are in this new-look side. Someone needs to step up. Someone needs to take control. The days ahead are massive. Final hours of the window, massive derby, Europa League groups being drawn, all of it colliding into this one pivotal stretch. The decisions made now will echo right through the autumn and winter. We've got a chance to put things right. But the time for waiting is over. No more we're working on it. No more waiting for the right opportunity. We either act or we fall behind. So Celtic, the message is clear. The fans have done their bit. They've backed the team. They've turned up in numbers. Now it's time for the club to do theirs. Get the signings done. Get the team ready. And let's go into Sunday swinging. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In a stunning twist that has sent shockwaves across Scottish football, whispers are growing louder that Celtic have pulled off one of the most audacious transfer moves in their modern history by securing the services of Portuguese maestro Bruno Fernandez. While no official announcement has yet been made, the rumor mill in Glasgow is spinning at full speed, with supporters speculating that the Manchester United talisman could be unveiled in green and white hoops before the close of the current window. Pub chatter, online forums, and late-night radio shows are abuzz with suggestions that Celtic Park could soon be graced by a player who, until recently, seemed untouchable for any Scottish club outside the realm of fantasy. It is said that boardroom negotiations have been quietly advancing for weeks, with Celtic's hierarchy desperate to bring in a midfield general capable of guiding the club back to dominance, both domestically and in Europe. Fans are already imagining the roar that would greet Fernandez's first appearance in the famous Paradise atmosphere, with many daring to believe that such a signing would change the perception of Scottish football on the global stage. The possibility has opened a wave of excitement, disbelief, and cautious optimism. The talk surrounding the potential arrival of Bruno Fernandez at Celtic has also sparked heated debates about the financial implications of such a dramatic move. Some insiders are hinting that sponsorship deals and fresh investment from international backers may be involved, cushioning what would otherwise appear as an impossible deal given Celtic's usual spending patterns. Supporters recall how the club in the past has flirted with signing big names, but nothing quite at this magnitude. Nothing with the star power of a player who has captained Manchester United and represented Portugal at the highest level. The thought of Fernandez dictating play on a rain-soaked afternoon at Tynecastle or orchestrating the midfield during a tense Old Firm clash has ignited imaginations across the country. Detractors argue that such gossip borders on the implausible, suggesting that it may simply be a rumor inflated by hopeful hearts and mischievous whispers. Yet, others insist that where there is smoke, there is fire, pointing to cryptic social media interactions and unexplained sightings that seem to fuel the frenzy. Regardless of the truth, the speculation alone has added a layer of drama and anticipation to a league that thrives on passion, rivalry, and the unexpected. What cannot be ignored is the impact this rumor is already having on Celtic's opponents. Rival supporters are nervously mocking the idea, yet underneath the laughter lies an unease that such a move could genuinely shift the balance of power in Scottish football. Rangers fans in particular are voicing disbelief, but many quietly admit that the addition of a world-class playmaker like Fernandez would create a formidable challenge to their own title aspirations. The very notion of Bruno stepping onto the turf at Ibrox in a Celtic shirt is enough to stir emotions on both sides of the divide. Beyond the old firm rivalry, smaller clubs are already considering the potential draw of packed stadiums and record ticket sales should Fernandez grace their grounds. The Scottish Premiership, often dismissed as predictable beyond the two Glasgow Giants, would suddenly hold worldwide interest, with broadcasters, journalists, and supporters tuning in to see how such a superstar adapts to the gritty, fast-paced environment of Scottish football. The possibility of a player of this caliber choosing Celtic offers a sense of validation to those who have long argued that the league deserves more recognition. At the heart of the speculation, however, lies the question of motivation. Why would Bruno Fernandez, a player accustomed to the glitz of Old Trafford and the demands of Champions League football, choose to cross the border and join Celtic? Some suggest it could be a matter of legacy, an opportunity to become a hero in a league that thrives on loyalty, passion, and history rather than sheer financial power. Others point to personal factors, whether family ties, admiration for the Celtic fan base, or a desire for a fresh challenge away from the relentless scrutiny of the Premier League. Footballing romantics argue that certain players still yearn for experiences beyond the obvious glamour, and the lure of becoming a living legend in Glasgow may hold an appeal beyond money. Cynics, on the other hand, are convinced that if there is truth to the story, there must be hidden incentives, perhaps linked to future coaching roles, ambassadorial duties, or lucrative off-field projects. The reasons may never be fully known until an official statement is made, but the speculation itself has woven a compelling narrative that continues to capture headlines and imaginations alike. Whether or not this sensational rumor ultimately proves true, its impact on the atmosphere surrounding Celtic cannot be understated. Season ticket sales, already strong, are rumored to be surging as hopeful fans brace themselves for the possibility of welcoming one of the world's elite midfielders to Parkhead. Merchandise designs have allegedly been drafted in anticipation, while international broadcasters are said to be inquiring about potential coverage rights for the Scottish Premiership. Even if the deal falls through, the buzz generated has highlighted the sheer magnetic pull of Celtic as a club steeped in tradition, yet yearning to make a modern statement on the global footballing stage. The whispers may fade, or they may crescendo into a thunderous unveiling that shakes Scottish football to its core. Until clarity arrives, the rumor itself serves as a tantalizing reminder of football's ability to stir dreams, ignite conversations, and create moments where anything seems possible. For now, the faithful at Celtic Park will continue to chant, hope, and speculate, clinging to the possibility that the next great chapter in their storied history could be about to unfold with the arrival of Bruno Fernandez. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.